Is fast food off limits for a dancer? We've got a lot to discuss.
I'm Rachel Fine, registered dietitian nutritionist and founder of To The Point Nutrition. A dancer's performance is a direct result of hard work and motivation. So where does food fit into this? There's a lot of myths and a ton of antiquated ideals, and I'm here to dispel those.
Hi, I'm Rachel Fine. I'm a registered dietitian nutritionist working specifically with dancers, helping them learn how to fuel for performance and build the most supportive relationship with food possible. Today, we're talking about the topic of fast food because, I'm asked about this often, and unfortunately, many dancers fear fast food. Well, actually, I'm going to say the culture at large. There's definitely an undertone of fear, an undertone of wanting or needing to avoid fast food, and that undertone of food guilt that's often associated with fast food meals. But we're going to bust a lot of myths today, and you're probably going to leave this feeling a bit surprised. Well, that's my hope, because I'm hoping that we can change some of your mindset perspective on what could be a very productive way to nourish your body. Let's talk about some fast food realities. So in my work at The Healthy Dancer, we prioritize nourishment. That baseline nourishment that your body needs to support you physically, mentally, and emotionally. And in doing this, we need to constantly be dismantling dancer diet culture, or those misconceptions and messages surrounding food that often glorify some foods while demonizing others. And fast food fits right into this conversation, because fast food is the reality of a busy and on-the-go schedule. This is incredibly important for dancers, especially dancers who travel. This might be dancers who are traveling on tour, dancers who are traveling to various competitions throughout their year, and dancers who are traveling to summer intensives. There are many instances where a dancer might very much need to rely on fast food for nourishment, and feelings of food guilt from that experience should never be. The bottom line, fast food becomes a very accessible option for an active dancer, and we need to learn how to make space for it. So let's first chat about why fast food is okay. Because feelings of food guilt undermine a challenged relationship with food. And it's one of the most common experiences that dancers have when struggling with either disordered eating behaviors or an eating disorder. Now, since fast food is often culturally deemed to be bad and unhealthy, dancers tend to experience a lot of that food guilt and overwhelming anxiety around situations where these foods might be the only option. And let me reiterate, guilt doesn't belong with your meals. So I know what you're thinking. Rachel, the ingredients. Shouldn't I be choosing minimally processed whole ingredients to support my performance? Now hear me out. Fears over processed foods are often the main reason why dancers develop overwhelming anxiety against fast food. And I've previously spoken in another video about the misconceptions around processed foods. Because when incorporated into an otherwise balanced diet, so what does that mean? It means that our patterns over time matter. And when it's accessible, when you can get in those nourishing, minimally processed options, those whole grains, fruits and veggies, and a spectrum of color on your plate, then great, go for it. But that's not always going to be the case. Even when we're looking at very specific ingredients that often get challenged on our social feeds, specifically seed oils and high fructose corn syrup. At the end of the day, even if some of the foods you're eating contain these ingredients, so long as they are just one part of the puzzle of an otherwise balanced meal plan, one that incorporates an abundant and variety of different foods throughout your day, you're going to be fine. And any of those supposed health risks will not outweigh the risks associated with actually underfueling or not eating an adequate amount of food because you are so fearful of the options in front of you. So eating fast food without guilt, I'm gonna say that dancers can do it and should make space for these experiences. Now, granted, if you are eating fast food, particularly items like fried foods and drinks with a high sugar content like iced teas and sodas, if you're eating and drinking these options quite often, then it's very likely that you're not going to feel physically great throughout your day. You might feel sluggish, you might feel an ultimate drop in your energy. But this isn't only the case with fast food. This can be with any food, and as I mentioned, patterns over time matter. If it helps, you can think of fast food as being somewhat of a fun food. We often utilize this term fun foods in the intuitive eating paradigm to help us in overcoming food fears. I do want to make it very clear though, the term fun foods is not meant to be used as a stark label around these foods where you feel like they're almost like a cheat meal. That's not the goal. The goal is to help reduce the stigma and the negative association that you have with these foods, that eventually you don't need to refer to them as anything different from any other food throughout your day. But if you're struggling in the moment, then I highly encourage you think of it as fast food and how you can incorporate that into your nourishment goals. In order to do that, we utilize one very specific tool within the Healthy Dancer, and that's the Healthy Dancer Food Flexibility Algorithm, which helps us to identify the intent of our eating. We are able to evaluate foods that are accessible to us, foods that we prefer, and then finally, we are able to utilize additional tools such as nutrition, but without obsession, to help make some more informed choices even at those fast food establishments. Now, the purpose for this would be to enhance your choices so that they can promote longer lasting energy and perhaps better recovery in those choices. And typically this involves choosing meals that have multiple components. So this might mean choosing a sandwich that's going to be rich in carbohydrates, but also in protein. You can easily pair this with some nourishing side items that happen to be quite prevalent at many fast food establishments. A couple examples might be a carton of milk, whole fruits like apples, bananas, oranges, apple slices is a common available side item. Side salads can be helpful to add some greenery to your meal. I've even seen options like string cheese, hummus packs, and baked potatoes at a lot of fast food establishments. This doesn't mean that any of these options need to replace ones that you might really enjoy, like a box of French fries. But it's helping you to boost the meal with, for example, fibrous components that can help to sustain your energy for a bit longer. So in conclusion, is fast food an okay option for dancers? Yeah. Oftentimes, it is the most accessible option for a dancer who's traveling through competitions, tours, and to even summer intensives. And relying on fast food to help you achieve your nourishment goals for the day might just be your best bet in supporting your body's energy needs. You can make some additional choices that help to boost the nutrient factor of that meal. As I mentioned earlier, adding a couple high fiber options like fresh fruit, baked potatoes, a side salad are just a few examples. But I wouldn't stress too much over this because the bottom line is that your patterns over time matter. And when these experiences are part of an otherwise balanced meal plan, there is no reason for you to ever feel a sense of food guilt or like you are doing something wrong for eating fast food. So please, enjoy your fast food. Check out some of these nutrient boosters. I've got a lot more tips for you all on the blog, dancenutrition.com. Simply do a quick search for fast food and you'll learn about them there. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon.